What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Thursday edition of Turf Talk. Of course, I am one half of the host here, Dylan Davis. You can give me a follow on Twitter at DylanJD98, and my faithful co-host over to my left. That's the wrong way. That way. Give me a follow on Twitter at Scotty Drowned. On this Thursday edition, we have a lot to discuss as we are streaming to you guys live through DSM Media on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter account. So if you're new to the channel, of course, tap in, give us a follow on Twitter at DSM_media. That's where you can find the bulk of our content. That's where you can interact with us the most. You can also find our link tree in our bio to take you to all other social media and streaming platforms, whether you get your podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you find yourself, or give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We are on every social media platform. That's not an exaggeration. But Scotty, before we get started, man, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just enjoying my Thursday night. I know you got a little bug in you, so I'm praying for you, brother, to get over that little bit of sickness you got there. Bro. Yeah, I know how it goes, man. But I'm feeling good at least. I got my Crown Royal and cola. I don't know if you guys, in any viewers out there, if you guys have seen like these things they're putting in liquor stores now, where they like mix the drinks for you in the can already. So like Crown Royal has like a couple flavors out with like Crown Royal apple and like some cranberry mixed in with it. That's already. Amazing. Then they have like cola and just like the Crown Royal regular. There's like absolute vodka ones. They got it like they got them covered all around. So
how do they taste? Are they like
so this one I got right now,
too strong, not enough.
It's strong. I'm not gonna lie to you. This one is almost too strong. I don't like it that much, but I also don't drink Crown Royal and cola very often. I like to do like the cranberry and Crown Apple. Mm-hmm. But the Crown Apple is very good though. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. Funny story real quick about Crown Apple. Never had it before. And then my senior year of college, my roommate bought a bottle of it. He never had it before either. And it was like a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night. Like we were just chilling at the apartment, like watching like the Flyers or whatever. This man kills the entire bottle of Crown Royal Apple. And is absolutely top 3 to 5 worst I saw my roommate throughout our 4 years together at Kutztown. But yeah, that was a great time. But all right, dude, let's get into our slate for tonight's show. Obviously, we're going to recap and react to the Week 10 slate. So we're going to react and break down the Eagles-Broncos game, what we saw there, what we liked, what we disliked. The Monday Night Football game, a big letdown by the LA Rams. San Fran stays in the wild card hunt. We'll talk about that. Our biggest overall takeaways from the entire slate of the Week 10 matchups. We'll update our top 5 power rankings. We'll talk about tonight's game a little bit. Between the Falcons and the Patriots. And then Scotty's got a fun little segment for us in the middle. We'll mix it in as we go through the show. But Scotty, let's start right here. Let's start with our Philadelphia Eagles taking down the Denver Broncos in Mile High. The Eagles come away with a 30-13 victory. I don't know if you're going to hear much negative come out of my mouth tonight. I doubt yours either. So I'll throw it to you first since I got to talk a little bit about it on Monday night with Ginn. What was we'll go down a list of major takeaways, but what stuck out to you the most from Sunday's victory?
Consistency from Nick Sirianni. I think that has to be the underlying truth or, the truth that you pull out of this game. Sirianni has found his groove, I guess you could say, in play calling. That was the best play called game yet, right? Like that was his best work of art that I've seen so far this season. And, I know Denver, Denver's not this like world beater team. They're very much just middle of the pack, right? Like they're 5-5 for a reason. Eagles are getting close to that mark themselves, right? That 500 team in the NFL. The thing about the Denver Broncos though, is their defense is good. They do have a top 10 statistical wise defense in the NFL in both metrics, passing and rushing. So to see the Eagles come out and control the time of possession, control the game like that, specifically in the first half. The second half, Broncos kind of shot themselves in the foot, which is usually what we do. And Jalen Hurts.
It was nice to be on the opposite end of things.
Jalen Hurts had his interception too, so we were going towards that way, right? They kind of beat us to it. But yeah, that's ultimately what I took away from this game, and ultimately what the run game and the balance of the offense is doing, it's making Jalen Hurts look like a better quarterback, which, anybody in the fan base could have guessed that. It's going to be interesting to see how Miles Sanders is mixed in there, but I'm sure we'll talk about all of that. But what did you see in this game?
Well, dude, you hit on a lot of key and important things there. So the main thing that I have down after this game was it was the third consecutive week of seeing growth and improvement from the two major parts, being Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. And this week I even saw major adjustments and improvement by the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, right? But let's start with Nick Sirianni because that's number one on my list. He gets an A+ for this game. Scotty, you hit on a lot of key things there with him. I'm just going to expand a little bit. As much grief as I give Nick Sirianni, I have to give credit when credit's due. And I don't know what happened or why it took 7 weeks and a Miles Sanders injury for him to realize that he needs to run the football. But he's seen it, he's adjusted, and it seems like he's figured that part of things out. Scotty, he's continuing to run the football, obviously, after Detroit, when we were begging him for 6-7 weeks to run the football. He did it against Detroit, and then we're like, all right, let's see it against a more formidable opponent. Then he does it against the Chargers, and it's like, all right, they're a better team, but they're worse in the league against the rush. Let's see it again. Right. And he does it against. But here's the major part for me, Scotty, and something you hit on with balance. It's not just the fact that he's continuing to run the ball and run it effectively. It's that over the course of the last 3 games while running the ball, the offense is slowly getting more balanced. So after the Detroit game, it was okay, he ran the ball, but they only threw 11 passes. We didn't learn anything about Jalen Hurts.
Right.
The Chargers game, in a loss, they run the ball, but he only threw it 17 times. A little bit more, but not enough. The Denver game, they run the ball, and he throws 23 passes. The offense was very, very balanced. And again, another thing that you said when you said it, I think this was Nick Sirianni's best called game, his best game plan. Every single week over the last 3 weeks, Scotty, I found myself saying that after the game, and that in itself shows you growth in the right direction when it comes to Nick Sirianni and his preparation throughout the week, and then his game plan, his play calling and execution on Sundays. So Nick Sirianni was very, very good and effective on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and I think you covered everything there, and I did love your point, just about the consistent uptick of balance, like not just running the football. They went from extreme to extreme, so passing the ball heavily to running till you can't anymore, right? And they've gradually gotten away from that and gradually gotten more consistent and more balanced, which is exactly what you wanted to see. You mentioned Jonathan Gannon earlier, and that was my – I guess you could call it a takeaway. It's not really – I guess it is about Jonathan Gannon in a sense. He may be able to survive this season and, don't get me wrong. I do not like this guy's scheme. There's nothing that he could do the rest of this season, with these fake blitzes and this, blitzing more often against these poor quarterbacks that we're about to face. There's nothing that he could do that would make me think differently because I know what his true scheme is when we go up against talented teams.
Right.
And that's not going to change. That's who he is as a defensive coordinator. That's what he believes in. So I think that he's going to be able to survive this season where, after that Chargers game, we're like, well, Sirianni's picking it up, but maybe Gannon is the guy that gets toasted this year. I don't think he will. I think he's going to be able to survive, over this next stretch of just bad quarterback play. You talk about playing guys like Taylor Heineke twice. You're going to play Daniel Jones twice. You're going to play whoever the hell the Jets is starting. Whoever the hell, they don't believe in Zach Wilson anymore.
The revenge game's coming.
So, playing against those type of guys, even this weekend against what's his name? Trevor Siemian or Simeon, whatever. Simeon. I had to say it once, man. But that was my other takeaway is that Gannon's defensive scheme and this defensive talent is just good enough. They got just enough playmakers on that defense that we may be able to hide Gannon in that scheme, through these last 7 games that we have this season. Yeah,
man. So that's one big thing that we can hit on real quick is you just said, Jonathan Gannon isn't part of this team's future. So we can get that out of the way, right? But I think someone that I myself and a lot of people wrote off early on in the season of not being part of the long-term plan, and I'm not saying that he is now, but I guess my question to you would be, are you starting to think we wrote off Nick Sirianni a little too early? Again, this doesn't mean we've done a complete 180 and we're saying, no, Nick Sirianni's a really good play caller and head coach, and he deserves to be here in the long term. What I'm saying is we're seeing consistent signs of improvement, and maybe 7 weeks in, we shouldn't have said this dude's a clown. Now, he didn't help himself, talking about roots and flowers and all that other shit. But did we write him off too soon, do you think?
Write him off too soon. Maybe, but I don't think that anything we said was unfair. I don't. Okay. I truly don't, because if you're calling the game the way he was calling and then reciprocating the messages that he was giving to the media and then what he is supposedly giving to the team, that stuff was looking very clownish, and that doesn't change just because you start, making play, you start doing better at your job, right? Like,
right, you start doing what the fans have asked you to do for 7 weeks.
We've asked you to do that the first 7 weeks, right. So it's more or less, Sirianni is learning.
And we're the guys paying to go see you play. You're getting paid to do this thing.
Exactly.
And what we've been screaming for 7 weeks, again, not saying,
what we've expected, right? Right. Like we look at Sirianni and his experience and what that Colts offense looked like last season. That what we saw at the beginning of the season is not what we expected, and rightfully so. And he's rightfully got it back on track. He's rightfully doing what he's supposed to. So no, I would say that Sirianni, I don't think we were unfair for writing him off. I think that he just did a really bad job to start off, and he didn't really represent himself the way that he should have at the beginning of a relationship between fans and the coach. Right. So I'm not taking any fault in that. Simply put, I'm not, because he was doing some outrageous stuff in the first couple of weeks, as far as the running to passing ratio, as far as plays called. Even the penalties, the discipline has gotten a little bit better. Derek Barnett still does his thing once a game, but the rest of the guys have at least got it together in a sense. And, that's where it comes down for me. The discipline's got better. The play calling's got better by Sirianni on the offensive side of the ball. That's what he has control of, and that's ultimately what I want to see. And we've seen 2 wins in the last 3 weeks, so that also helps.
Yeah, and I think that's something that can change maybe the culture of where this locker room was at with some of these veteran guys that were kind of maybe starting to get a little fed up with the cliches and the losing and the, 1% better and rents due. And finally, you're starting to see that grow. So let's get to the rent check finally being paid off for the first time in a couple of weeks. And that's what
now we can promote the shows or the shirts.
Yeah, there you go. So here are the numbers for Jalen on Sunday. 16 of 23 through the air, 178 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 INT, and a quarterback rating of 103.2. Scotty, I know you got a lot to say, so I'll try to make this as short as possible, and then, I'll kind of digress. But he was phenomenal in the first half. Maybe the best I've seen him in an Eagles uniform. Like, he was that dialed in. He was that accurate. Something that stuck out to me, Scotty, he was confident. So he stuck around in the pocket. He didn't bail and leave the pocket too early and not let routes develop because he sensed the tiniest bit of pressure. No, he hung around. He navigated the pocket. He stepped up and he delivered the ball with accuracy. He delivered the ball with confidence. He used his legs when needed, Scotty, as a secondary weapon. Not as a primary, oh my God, 2 seconds, nothing's there, let me bail out and get something with my legs. He waited, scanned the field, nothing's there, let me create, right? Phenomenal first half. That first half showed signs and a glimpse, oh, I can't speak right now, and a glimpse of a franchise quarterback. It really did. The second half, not so much. And in the second half, quite frankly, reminded me of the 4 games from the end of the 2020 season. He put up numbers in the first half. The offense moved the ball and scored points and looked really good and successful in the first half. Go into the locker room, come back out, turning the ball over. Can't move the ball up and down the field. Now I know maybe, you said it to me earlier in the week. He didn't need to throw the ball a lot. The game didn't call for it. They ran the ball. That's true. But he threw for 2 yards in the entire second half. 2 yards and an interception in the entire second half. And before the Melvin Gordon fumble, Scotty, when it was a 7-point game and Denver, he picked up the first down. Denver was going to have 1st and 10 inside the Eagles 25. The Eagles offense went 3 and out on their first 2 possessions to start the second half for 1 minute and 38 seconds and 1 minute and 40 seconds. And in the second possession was that INT.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I'll leave it, and I'll throw it to you. I know people are excited, and they should be. The kid each and every week is getting better, and this last game was probably his best of the entire season in the first half.
Yeah.
You can't throw for 2 yards and an INT in a second half, and I don't hear anybody talking about it, and I think that's a shame. You know why? Because I think that sets an extremely low bar, Scotty. That sets an extremely low bar when we just want to see one great half. But do you know why that's flying under the radar? Because they won by 17 points.
Yeah.
But again, if the defense doesn't force a fumble and Darius Slay doesn't take a ball 82 yards to the crib, that game's different. Nick Sirianni doesn't run the ball as much as he does in the fourth quarter, and Jalen's got to go win a game with his arm. Not saying they definitely lose that game, but I think they would have lost that game if that drive doesn't stop at the 22-yard line. Phenomenal first half, bad second half. That's where I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, no, I think you explained it with great clarity there, and great unbiased. I mean, you said it as straight as you can. It was a great first half, and it's almost like the second half. I would say it's like not applicable, but he did throw an interception, so it is applicable. It was technically a bad second half, where I don't know. I guess I struggle. Just because it wasn't required. It would have been interesting to see if Darius Slay doesn't return the touchdown. Maybe they just get the fumble, and then we see if Jalen Hurts can lead that offense one more time to kind of seal it. What were you going to say?
I'll cut you off, but for all you Philly fans out there, Bryce Harper is your 2021 NL MVP.
Hell yes.
There we go.
Hell yes. Man, I feel like we need like balloons and like.
I know. I wish we had a special effect that could just come up behind us. You know, like when you send a happy birthday text and balloons and confetti.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's good
you see that behind the screen.
No, congratulations to Bryce Harper. Well deserved. And one positive we can pull from this.
There you go. Yeah.
This Philly season, right?
But where were we? We were talking about Jalen Hurts.
Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, right? So with Jalen Hurts in that game, I'm not gonna dispute anything that you said. The only thing that I disputed earlier in the week is just saying that they would have lost is where I was like, that's not fair to Hurts just because he deserves to get that opportunity to see if he would have lost. But ultimately, no, I can't disagree with that. I don't know. It was a weird game. It's almost more telling that the Broncos ended up losing by 17 points than it is that, losing by 17 points and Jalen Hurts only threw for 3 yards in the second half and threw an interception, or only threw 3 passes, in the second half. So I think that's almost more incriminating on the Denver Broncos that they were still able to lose by multiple possessions. But no, it is. And I think that what you're speaking on is the next step, right? So the totem pole or the expectation was, let's get one great first half by for Eagles fans here. Explosion in the first half, perfect first half to, mixing it up with Dallas Goedert. You got Quez Watkins, multiple touches, multiple catches.
We haven't even talked about the highlights of the game yet.
Yeah, Devontae Smith is that man. Yeah. And he got him involved early in that game. It's one of those things where, you just don't want to see your offense go into like a hermit crab shell, you know what I mean, in the second half. And it's like all of a sudden that offense doesn't exist anymore. And I felt nervous at times in that second half where like, the Eagles are going to blow this, ain't they? After that great start, we're going to have to forget about all of that because you're going to blow this in the second half. And luckily, they didn't go that far, and I think that's the first step, right? Yeah. So the next step is getting maybe it's a third quarter mixed with the first half. And then the next step will be a complete game, or maybe the next step is a complete game. But that's what we need to see. I'm not calling this guy a franchise quarterback by any means.
No, but a lot of people are. And, dude, there's a lot of people after the Broncos game on social media and calling in the Philly Sports Talk Radio saying the Eagles could, with those 3 first-round draft picks, they've seen enough from Jalen Hurts to where if we use those 3 first-round draft picks smartly next year, we could be Super Bowl contenders next year.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going that far.
Now we have a beef because it's like, can we relax? Because 3 weeks ago, the kid sucked. Let's trade for Russell Wilson, or let's trade the 3 first-round picks. He plays well for a half against the Broncos, and you're going to the Super Bowl next year. Now, that's a minority of fan base and people, but I'm just saying it's out there.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
So, Scott, don't get me wrong. It's this. See that by Phil trending?
There you go.
Our guy trending for Phil, trending in the right direction is Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. They checked off multiple boxes this week. But there's a saying like in a hockey game, right? If the Flyers look like shit for 2 periods and then outplay their opponent in the 3rd period and they win the game 3-2 or 4-3 or whatever, all you hear after that is they got to put together a full 60-minute performance, right? That's what I need from Jalen Hurts that I haven't seen yet, because it raises questions to me, Scotty, that need to be answered for me to go forward with him in the long term.
Yeah.
Meaning, what happens when the run isn't there? Yeah. What happens when you can't just rely on Jordan Howard and Boston Scott to run the ball 15 times in the second half, only needing Jalen Hurts to throw 3 times because Denver can't stop the run? What if that's a 7-point game and the Eagles can't run the ball the entire second half? I need to see that my franchise quarterback can use his arm and his talent enough to go win the game.
Yeah.
Can he make enough throws from the pocket with his arm to go win the game for a full 60 minutes? That's a box that has to be checked off still. So, like I said, I just feel like I feel like it's not giving him enough credit either from those people that are just, bailing him out with this. Dude, that's an extremely low bar to set to where the man can throw for 2 yards and an interception in an entire second half of football, and we're just praising how good he looked. Yeah. No, he looked extraordinary for a half.
Yeah.
He looked mediocre and amateurish in a second half. I need a full performance next.
And to be fair, what that is describing, and I'm not saying that this is Jalen Hurts, but I am saying that if Jalen Hurts, down the line, if this is who he is, where he can't play complete games, that is ultimately a backup quarterback, a guy that can catch fire, a Nick Foles, right? Like a guy that gets really hot in these moments, make a bunch of plays, but then the next moment they just look like a pedestrian-ass quarterback. And you hope that it's not Jalen Hurts, but right now we can't make the assumption that it's not Jalen Hurts or that it is Jalen Hurts.
I'll give you a reason that I am optimistic about this kid in the moment right now. Is in week 3, after that Dallas beating, what did you and Phil discuss a lot? Body language and facial expressions and how he looked on the field and how he looked literally scared and not ready for the moment.
Yeah.
Over the course of the last 3 games where they've come away with 2 wins, seeing himself, like I said, he hasn't won you a game with his arm, but, you mentioned it on Monday on my show, Scotty. Against the Chargers, he did lead a game-tying drive late in the second half. Okay, so seeing him over the last 3 weeks, his confidence level is through the roof right now, in my opinion. And he's making those throws, and he's being able to stick around in the pocket because of the confidence and the fact that he knows his play caller isn't dropping him back there 47 times a game. Scotty, I'm seeing play action rollouts. Yeah. What? Who is this team?
Yeah.
So there's reasons for optimism, and I'm optimistic right now. And you win this game on Sunday that I'm attending, this team might find their way into the goddamn playoffs, and I don't even know how to feel about it. But that's kind of where we're at right now. Before we move on, is there anything else you want to react to from this game? Obviously, like we said, Devontae Smith is that dude.
Yeah.
Like, happy birthday, young buck. Like, go grab 2 tutties. Like, by the way, celebration, top notch.
Yes.
Like, this kid's got the personality. Scotty, here's one thing I'll throw to you before we do move on, and when you want to talk about Devontae Smith. Obviously, and again, this goes along with it. Shout out to Darius Slay for being the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. We talk a lot when this offense was struggling and this defense looked so bad. Like, man, like, is this why the offense looked good in the preseason and in training camp? Because they're going up against this defense. There's one matchup that you can tell both parties are benefiting off of, and that is the Devontae Smith versus Darius Slay matchup and relationship in practice throughout the week. Because those two dudes are always there on Sunday afternoons. And you hear them mic'd up, and you got the little battle of Slay trying to run routes on Devontae Smith, and it's all fun. But they're both their play is benefiting from being lined up across each other all week long.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's beautiful to see the relationship that they've built, and how comfortable they are, communicating out in public with each other. All of it. It shows that it is genuine. What I would say, just as far as Darius Slay specifically, you hit the nail on the head with Devontae Smith. I'm not going to drill this into the ground. We've been talking about this since the offseason, how much we love this guy, why we love this guy, why he is easily skyrocketed to top 3 player on the team. He's a rookie. Devontae Smith is the truth. It's as simple as that. He's the best wide receiver that we've drafted in who the hell knows how long. It's been that long. Deshaun Jackson. Devontae Smith is a more complete wide receiver than Deshaun Jackson. 100%. That's a discussion for another day. Obviously, the Jeremy Maclins of the world, but Devontae Smith is the truth. Darius Slay, man, it's funny because we go back to last season, people coming out of that season talking about Darius Slay wasn't worth the money, Darius Slay this, Darius Slay that, analytics. No, this dude's a lockdown corner. He's a number 1 corner. And this season, you're starting to see the big play side of everything. I think that's where everybody was kind of selling the farm over the offseason because he didn't go out and have a ton of interceptions. He didn't get touchdowns last season. Ultimately, that's not his job. His job is to not give up yards, not give up catches, not give up touchdowns. That's Darius Slay's job. This season, he's doing more than his job by getting the big plays that got him the name Big Play Slay. And, what I was thinking about going into, this last week and what it ultimately got me excited about this win against the Broncos is because I'm thinking about guys like Jason Kelce and Darius Slay. And you're going to hate me for saying this, but it's the whole playoff motive. And I had a hard time, and I still fight with myself about, should this team even try to make the playoffs? Like, are they deserving? Like, there's so many caveats that we can go into with that. But guys like Darius Slay deserve to get a chance to play in the playoffs. And you talk about the guy. He was on the Lions before the Eagles. He came to the Eagles right at their downfall, right? Right when they stopped missing the playoffs.
Yeah, when he came here, there were hopes of this team. They were a division winner. They were
like he was completing our secondary at that point, right? Like we were ready to go, like that. And for him, like Darius Slay alone, like there's other guys, Brandon Graham that I love. He's obviously injured. Lane, Jason Kelce, the other veterans on the team, but Darius Slay specifically, I want this guy to get a taste of the playoffs. And, we don't know what happens in the offseason. If this is the last, season with Darius Slay, even on the roster, there's people that wanted to trade him this past offseason for whatever reason. If Darius Slay is not on this roster, I would love for him to get his first. I'm not sure if he made the playoffs with the Lions. I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I highly doubt it, but I would love for him to get his potential first playoff appearance with the Eagles, and that's kind of all I got for Darius Slay. I do love him as a player. I love his character. I love his personality. And I guess I just went on a Slay stan spiel, but
no, dude, I
know you feel me. I know you love Slay, so
it's not like Bryce Harper's been to the playoffs before. Other guys have been to the playoffs. Andrew McCutcheon's been to the playoffs before. But what you just said is exactly what I was hoping for with the Phillies. Like, just get these dudes in a playoff atmosphere and see what the hell happens. That character, that personality with the big play, potential there with Darius Slay, get him in a playoff setting and see what happens. And that's all you can really ask for. Here's what I'll say, Scotty. Obviously, before the year, we didn't picture this team in the playoffs. Throughout the year, that we know, I think we still know that this team isn't really any good, and whatever. But why not let Jalen Hurts and these young Bucks get a taste of playoff football? Why not? You know what I mean? So why not want to see Jalen Hurts play a division rival in the first round of the playoffs or whatever? So yeah, man, I'm excited. And this game this week is a huge week. Because statistically wise, and I'm not a big calculator guy, but a shout out to my guy, Paul Hembo. He said on the Fanatic earlier, and my apologies to everyone. I was supposed to have Hembo on the show Tuesday, got sick, postponed. Hopefully he's coming on next week. Hopefully Monday he'll be on the Faithful Fanatic show. But he said that if the Eagles win this Sunday against the Saints, they have a 40% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose versus New Orleans, they have an 11% chance to make the playoffs.
Makes sense, though.
That is huge. So that Raiders game that Chargers game that you and I were saying this is the game. No. Correction, pal. This is the week. This is the game.
Yeah.
To where you're boom or bust. You have a chance to make the playoffs, or your season is just let's see how we look against the Giants and Washington and the Jets. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And, this, I guess this can be the closing point with the Eagles. And, we're building the hype for this matchup against the Saints this weekend, which, just a heads up for everybody, all our viewers, Turf Talk, Dylan won't be on this Sunday version of Turf Talk. He is going to the game. It's that big of a game that my man has put up some money and he's going. So it's going to be a hell of a matchup. And there's a ton of opportunity that comes with this contest. There's a ton of pressure because the Eagles, after showing what they've showed us the last 3 weeks, I should say, you should beat this team. Kamara's banged up. You have Trevor Siemian at the quarterback.
Trevor Siemian throwing the ball.
Siemian at the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts. You should win this quarterback head-to-head matchup. The Saints have a good defense. They do. They have the number one rushing defense. So what you've been wanting, we need to see. They're going to have to pass the ball. And we need to see Jalen Hurts just simply be better than Trevor Siemian. Do better than him. Outplay him. And we will beat the Saints this weekend. Do not turn the ball over. We will beat the Saints this weekend. It's as simple as that. But just to build that hype for this matchup this weekend, Saints are going to – the Eagles are competing with –
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Not you, obviously. Don't ever question my fandom and my loyalty, bro. I'm paying money to go see this team this weekend. Probably freeze my balls off. I don't even know what the temperature is supposed to be, but I'm sure as hell it's going to be cold. I'm hard on this team because I love this team. Okay.
Yep.
That's why I'm hard on this team. So listen, now you are going to have one angry co-host if this team lays an egg on Sunday. You are going to have one pissed off DSM media member that froze his balls off at the game, paid money, got his hopes up for half a second about this team that probably doesn't deserve my hope right now. They better show up, Scotty.
Get that W, and we don't have to go down that road. And we can leave it at that. Go Birds. Great W against the Broncos, but next test is up here. What is it? Round 11, as Sirianni said.
Round 11. Hell yeah. They just won round 10.
Let's get it. We got plenty more rounds to go, but I guess we can quickly. We spent a lot of time, as always, on the Eagles.
Yeah. Going on 36 minutes here.
Let's breeze through this 49ers Rams matchup. Any quick takeaways from this game specifically? I know we're both very high on the Rams this season.
Yeah, it was a dud of a game. becoming unimpressed with the Rams over the last 2 weeks. I don't quite know what's going on with Matthew Stafford and this offense. Obviously, they laid a dud at home against the Tennessee Titans when they were extremely shorthanded. They only scored 16 points or 12, whatever it was on that Sunday night matchup. The first game without Derrick Henry for Tennessee, and I'm like, all right, well they'll bounce back. You get a divisional opponent on the road Monday Night Football. You get an 8-day break, and that's the performance you put out offensively and defensively as well. Like you knew what San Fran was trying to do on Monday night. You knew it at home. I knew it at home. The broadcasters knew it in the booth. You knew San Fran was trying to run the ball, and they were trying to get the ball out of Jimmy's hands quickly with these quick hitting passes. Yep. And they had no trouble doing so. The Rams defense had no pushback. And then, like I said, offensively, it was a sloppy Matthew Stafford performance. More turnovers, more missed opportunities, more missed passes, receivers dropping balls. So I don't know, man. I'm unenthused by this Rams team, who I had as a Super Bowl favorite just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Just to kind of piggyback off what you said there, looking at this game, watching this game, which I was on not on Turf Talk. I was on Scotty Talks NBA until about a quarter of the way through that game. And I came in, I think it may have even been a whole half, but the 49ers were up like 21-3 or 24-3, something like that.
Yeah. And as a man who had Rams money line, not a good feeling.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? Like, why are the Rams doing this from time to time? Like, is this part of who the Rams are? And it seems to be a pretty consistent recipe to what beats the Rams, and it's been that way since Sean McVay's been there. Mind you, 5 straight losses to the San Francisco 49ers. Doesn't matter what quarterback they have back there, what running back they have back there. The 49ers just always
seems to have some success against them.
They punch the Rams in the mouth. And what you can completely compute out of this game is that the Rams are simply soft. They're soft as hell. They're soft as baby shit, as some counterparts say. They get punched in the mouth and they don't respond. And that's part of the issue there. I don't know if you can even figure that out in LA, which LA seems like a pretty soft city in a sense. They're always at the top of everything. They always have
you best believe we're clipping that. You best believe it. Scotty, by the end of this calendar year, Scotty is going to have a complete promo of just saying F this city soft. I remember the Hawk series we had at the end of a promo, all you heard was F Atlanta. Now LA's a soft city. Oh man.
I got major beefs with some of these cities, man, and I'm telling you, in the NBA season I'll really get into it, or maybe it's because we haven't played New York this season yet, but New York, Boston.
Oh, we played the Knicks twice.
Oh, yeah. Well, I meant for the Eagles.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't talk about New York just yet, but because of those 2 first matchups, whenever we get the Knicks full strength, I'm going to have a lot to say about New York and their fans.
Yeah.
And then Boston as well. I got a lot of hatred for Boston, but I spread it around to all the metropolitan areas except that's where my heart resides. So, it's fucked the world except for Philly in my eyes. But
I spread my shit all the metropolitan area.
No, but the Rams are funny, man. Something I wanted to ask you about this game. Obviously, we talked about the Rams a little bit. Deebo Samuel, man, and it's something I asked Jeremy on Trinity AM. Where does he rank amongst wide receivers?
I don't know. I have because
where is he?
You don't picture Deebo in the top 10. You don't have him. You don't have him in the top 0 of wide receivers. But when I go back and we can go back and dig up what we had as our top 10 wide receiver rankings before the season started, I'd love to take a look at the bottom of that list, like the 7 to 10 area, 6 to 10, and then compare them to some of the other guys in the league right now and to Deebo Samuel. That dude is a yak monster. I remember we had Jordan Elliott, the 49ers beat reporter, on the show weeks and weeks ago. And he was saying Deebo is just a physical dude. He is a hard runner. They get the ball in his hands, and it's lower your shoulder. He's hard as hell to bring down. And it's like, dude, you see it every week. There's a big play involved every week. He gets the ball on end arounds. He gets the ball on jet sweeps. He gets the ball, on screens, on go routes, on post routes. He can do it all. Scotty, if I'm being serious, he has to be. He's definitely top 13 probably.
Yeah.
And you could probably make an argument for higher than that. I'd have to go through the names. Obviously, I remember Calvin Ridley was on my list, and I think he was on your list as well. And there's no disrespect or shade as to what he's going through right now off the field. But when he was on the field this season, he was underperforming, and then he's obviously off the field right now. So that's a slot open. I honestly forget who I had at the bottom of my list, but Debo's definitely top 15. He's probably top 12 more like.
Let me give you his numbers and where they rank before we end this part of the show. So 54 receptions, that's 13th in the NFL. 979 receiving yards is second in the NFL right now. 5 touchdowns, 12th in the NFL. 18.1 yards per catch is 4th in the NFL right now. And then on top of it, he has 11 carries, 2 touchdowns on the season as well in the rushing game.
Yeah.
This dude, you talk about yards.
A wide receiver who I would love to put across from Devontae Smith.
Who?
Debo.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about a bulldozer on one side, and then I guess you could call him a technician on the other side because Devontae Smith is so technically sound.
Who?
Yeah, I wanted to know who, because there's a lot of free agent wide receivers this year that we're gonna have to choose from. Hopefully, I'm honestly I'm open to how he goes all in, not on wide receiver, but just goes all in this offseason, does what he has to do. That's a combo for another day. But
wide receiver this year needs to be solved through free agency.
Yeah,
or via trade.
Exactly.
Leave the defense. Obviously, you can do whatever, what you got to do with because I forget how much money comes off the books. Obviously, the Carson dead money comes off the books, and some other stuff comes off the books very soon, and they'll have cap space. But obviously, those 3 first-rounders, if you choose to keep them, I would hope at least 2 of them are on the defensive side of the ball. And when I say defensive side of the ball, I do not mean defensive, tackle. I mean, maybe an edge rusher. I don't know, but you get my point.
I guess you could call those
never going to happen.
Defensive skill players, I guess you could call it.
So obviously, the wide receivers should be solved through a veteran presence across from Devontae Smith.
I think that would have helped us this year. Honestly, I think that would have helped us a lot this year to have that wide receiver, and that's something we talked about earlier in the season as well.
So let me ask you real quick. This is going back to the Eagles for just a second. Do you think if Howie could have seen how this playoff, percentage and this playoff window is open right now, if he would have attacked the trade deadline a little differently? Because he is not the smartest guy in the world, if you get what I mean. So I'm not saying just because the Eagles have a chance to make the playoffs that Howie should have won out and made this trade or that trade. But I feel like knowing him, he would have went out if he knew that they had this window and this chance to make a playoff push. He would have tried to do something.
I do. And, I think one of the situations that ultimately wouldn't have happened is trading Zach Ertz as well, which is, once again, another conversation. But I don't think that would have happened. And, the kicker about, the trade deadline is that the Raiders game was so close into that time frame where that game was demoralizing.
The lowest of lows.
It was the lowest.
That was game 7, Sixers lost to the Hawks type of low.
Yeah,
not literally, but you get my point. Where you're
kick me while I'm down.
Yeah.
Kick me while I'm down game in Las Vegas there. And I can't blame him for not doing anything, but I do think if you knew you had the chance right now, you know what I mean? And maybe they can do it without the help from the deadline. But I think, ultimately, I don't think any of us, we joked around, we said all these things, and if they lose this weekend, all of it goes right back to what it was before. But we really didn't think that they would have a realistic chance of making the playoffs. And the truth is So not some. A lot of these teams are just not nearly as good as they're supposed to be, right? Like we have teams losing to teams that they should not be losing to, and it's as simple as that. You talk about the Buccaneers losing to the Washington football. That shouldn't happen.
Don't
not happen. It should not happen. But
don't.
Weird shit is happening in the NFL this season, and here we are, the Eagles with a chance to not only get in better position to make the playoffs, but also knock somebody that's in the way of them out of the way in the process. So you beat the Saints, you now have the win over the Saints if it comes down to that. Right. Once playoff,
you already have Carolina and Atlanta.
Carolina, Atlanta, all those teams hovering around there. The only one is the 49ers, which, whatever. I'm not going to cry if we don't make the playoffs either, but as we get closer, obviously, we're going to get more and more hype if we have a chance, and that's just the way it goes.
You're right. It is looking like two slots are going to be available, not just that 7th seed. The 6th and 7th seed are going to be up for grabs in the NFC. But let's move on to our Week 10 takeaways. And I was just saying because, dude, what a brutal betting day. Like, when I tell you brutal, again, I can't get it. A couple weeks. You remember when the Bengals lost to the Jets?
Yeah.
The Bengals were the final leg of a multiple leg parlay that I had. They lose to the Jets. You know who I had in a parlay? 2 parlays this week? The Buccaneers. In a money line parlay and in a tease down spread parlay. And they were my only loss on both of those. I also had Aaron Jones in 2 separate parlays. 1 yards, 1 TD. Hit all my other legs in both those parlays. Aaron Jones got hurt. Had Ezekiel Elliott as another leg to get 60 rushing yards. Hit all my other legs. He gets pulled early because they're beating the Falcons' ass. Like, dude, when I tell you a horrible day of missing by an inch. So that's my first takeaway. Not the best betting day. But then I'll throw this one to you, Scotty.
Yeah.
Did we write Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs off a wee bit early? Just a little early. Because listen, man, I'm not saying they're fully back. But they're 6-4. They're finding ways to still win games. They are now fighting for that division in which we thought the Raiders or Chargers were going to finally take down the Chiefs this year for the AFC West. As much as Patrick Mahomes has looked off to our eyes this year, he still leads the league in a ton of stats. He's up there in passing. And that defense that was putrid a couple weeks ago, their front's getting healthier. And they brought in Melvin Ingram. And that defense doesn't look so bad anymore. So, did we pull that trigger a little too early?
I'm going to hold off on saying that we did. I am. I'm going to hold off on saying that we did. They look a lot better. I mean, you dropped 41 points on the Raiders, who, have appeared to hit a stone wall this season. Because I believe before that they lost to the Giants. So the Raiders are on, this downhill skid. The Broncos are not that good. Turns out the Chargers really are not this world beater either. They lost to the Vikings. So maybe we just gave a little too much credit to the rest of the division. And now the Chiefs are, just playing. They're playing. I can't hate on the Chiefs at this point. What I will say is let's see how they perform against the Cowboys this weekend.
Oh, for
because
sure.
That's going to be interesting because in reality, I think the Cowboys have a better overall team when you're talking about defense and offense and just the balance on offense. But in reality, it's the Chiefs. Like, you need to come out here. This can be their signature win, if you want to call it that, in this season where we can definitively say, yeah, I was totally wrong about the Chiefs.
You have to take into account who their opponents were. But over the last 3 weeks, because I'm looking specifically defensively, because they were bad, Scotty. And that's what not only was Mahomes' play pulling them back, but that defense was going to hold them back from being any sort of championship contender. And over the last 3 games, they've given up 17, 7, and 14. Now, granted, 3 weeks ago was Monday Night Football at home against the Giants. Then they got the Packers without Aaron Rodgers, and now the Raiders, which was a pretty impressive one in Vegas. But Scotty, if they can, even if they lose to Dallas, they still have 6 games to win out with. But they could legitimately, if they beat Dallas, win out. And even if they lose. So they have Dallas this week, bye week. Denver at home, W. Raiders at home. Well, from what I just saw, most likely W. Yeah. Now, this one's a little tricky. Thursday Night Football at Chargers. That could be tough, short week on the road, division rival, but very could be a W. Steelers, W. At Cincinnati, from what I've seen from Cincinnati past couple weeks, W. At Denver, W. They could win out, Scotty, and if they win out, they're 13-4.
Isn't that crazy?
Even if they lose to Dallas, even if they drop one game in the final 7, they're 12 and they will be 12-5 in a year in which we just threw them in the corner and said, "This ain't your year. You're out of the championship contention. You know, Mahomes is struggling. Whatever." They could be a 12 or 13 win team. I promise you, at a minimum, they win 12 games.
Yeah, I would have to agree based on the schedule.
And dude, I'm such a huge fan of Patrick Mahomes. If he didn't have that annoying ass brother, oh my God, I would like this kid 100 times more. 100 times more.
No,
tell me I'm wrong. Someone in the comments tell me that Jackson Mahomes isn't the most annoying, irritable person you've ever seen on social media.
My girlfriend, she's like a real big TikToker too, so she sees them all the time. She'll send them to me. I'm just like, dude, not. She hates them too, by the way.
Mine used to send me them too, and I'm like, stop sending me these TikToks. I want to throw my phone out on the highway every time I see him pop up.
Nah, the Chiefs. Yeah, I think you're spot on with the evaluation, especially laying out the schedule like that. And they did. They played against some tough, competition to start the season. You talk about the Bills, Browns, Ravens, so on and so forth. And even the Titans that are at the top of the AFC. Yeah, maybe we were sleeping on the Chiefs to an extent, you know what I mean, with the way that they're coming around now, and the defense does seem to be turning up a little bit. I mean, you talk about 4 or 5 weeks ago, Jalen Hurts had his best passing game of his career, statistically wise, against the Chiefs. So they're improving this week, and I don't mean that they have to beat the Cowboys. They could lose to the Cowboys and still have a great outing. Just don't get blown out. That's
in Arrowhead, so I don't foresee that happening.
It's in Arrowhead. So yeah, they should beat the Cowboys in reality then. But that would be an interesting game. That's an interesting topic as far as game of the week later on.
Oh yeah.
But that's a great takeaway. It's a conversation that needs to be had. Just because, I know me personally, I threw them out of my top 10 power rankings, so on and so forth. So they are making a comeback here. My one takeaway, and I just have one. I know we're a little bit on time here. Patriots.
That's my other one too. So we're all good.
Okay, so we killed 2 birds with one stone. So I guess my question to you, Dylan, is: are the Patriots, how legit can they be this season as far as competing, contender-wise? Not saying they're going to compete for a Super Bowl. Are they a team that could upset somebody in the first round as well? What do you think?
I think that's probably their limit. Is they're not going to win their division, so they're going to be a wild card team on the road. Yeah. Depending on how it played out, like if they got Tennessee with no Derrick Henry and no Julio Jones or whatever, I could see that playing out. It would depend. But I think that's their ceiling. Mac Jones is obviously impressing the hell out of me. But I think here, something just on a side topic, I heard someone say this actually on TikTok the other day. So, credit to them, is everyone needs to calm down with the Mac Jones versus the other drafted rookies this season, because even though Mac was the 5th quarterback selected, he was the 5th quarterback selected, right? Yeah. It was, I think, Scotty, kind of known that he was the most pro ready, right? He in a system like New England, he was the most pro ready. He was going to have the most successful season with the company around him. So stop comparing Mac Jones to Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson and Trey Lance and Justin Fields and saying, oh, well, if we redid the draft, Mac Jones would go number 1 overall. No, he wouldn't. There was the consensus of the draft was he's the most pro ready now, but he's not, he's not going to be long-term better than Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, and maybe he will be, but let's stop with the whole, if we redrafted, he'd be the number 1 overall draft pick. No. Secondly, yeah, Scotty, they're not a championship contender. They have a rookie QB. They have 0 names on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not being over dramatic. You have Damian Harris.
Yeah.
You have Nelson Aguilar. You have Jacoby Myers. You have Hunter Henry. Like, you just got a bunch of dudes on offense, but they do have championship pedigree coaching and the greatest of all time coaching. And they have a good defense again. So I think their ceiling is kind of maybe a playoff. It's a playoff appearance with maybe a playoff win, but that's a win. That is a win for them. Dude.
Yeah, that's a hell of a season, for what, 2 seasons removed from Tom Brady leaving your organization. So, I mean, to bounce back like that and solidify Mac Jones as your quarterback of the future, the franchise quarterback, right? And as far as the comparisons between the other, nobody else got to come into the league with Bill Belichick. Yeah. Let's just stop it right there.
I'll tell you what'll get real interesting, dude, is the conversation that was always had. Is it Tom? Is it Bill? Is it Tom? Is it Bill? Tom leaves, goes to a team that's never won a Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl the first year. Bill struggles, doesn't make the playoffs. Conversation over, right? Yeah. Well, let me ask you, Tom, with the defending champs, that defense, all the weapons around them, Bill with the rookie quarterback and no weapons offensively, what did the Patriots go farther in the playoffs than Tampa Bay this year? Does the conversation resurface?
Crazy. It has to. I feel like it has to.
It's crazy to say because one won a Super Bowl, one maybe just won one playoff game.
Yeah.
But if you look at what Bill has to work with and you look at what Tom has to work with, if Tom loses in the first round of the playoffs to the Rams or Dallas or whoever it's going to be, and Bill wins the game in the playoffs with Mac Jones, I think that conversation comes back to life a little bit.
No, I totally agree. And I think, what would also come back to life is the fact that people forgot that the New England Patriots, half their defense, opted out of the season last year.
And then they got hit with COVID too.
And then they got hit with COVID on top of it. So they were destined to fail last
year. Cam Newton as their quarterback.
Cam Newton, right? So you're talking about a much more limited offense as well. So yeah, I think when you see Bill bounce back in the Patriots as well, their defense is 6th in the league overall right now. Top 10 defense, plus a rookie quarterback that is proficient in all of the typical things that rookie quarterbacks aren't proficient at, right? Like managing an offense, accurate throwing, accurate passing. So
climbing a pocket,
climbing the pocket, progressions, right? Like he's got a lot more under his belt than some of these other rookie quarterbacks, and it's as simple as that. Especially when you have Bill Belichick behind you. What I want to ask you, just regarding the playoff talk and the playoff matchups with this 7 seed. So is it just the first seed gets a bye week now?
Yeah, I believe so. Number 1 gets a bye. 2 plays 7. 3 plays 6.
Okay.
4 plays 5, I believe.
So as of right now, if that is the playoff format, we would have to double check on it. But if that was the case right now, New England would play Baltimore in the first round, which with Bill Belichick, if there's anybody, obviously this is way too early talking about this, but if there's anybody that can put together a plan to contain or stop Lamar Jackson, it would be Bill Belichick, I would imagine. In the NFC, if it is situated like we just said there, Tampa Bay would play the LA Rams in the first round of the playoffs. So good luck. Yeah. I mean, they got smoked by the Rams earlier this season, but the Rams have been smoked by whoever lately. So toss up on who wins that game.
I do have one more thing from Week 10 I want to discuss real quick.
Yeah.
So someone made their return. He's back. Cam Newton made his return to Carolina in a win over the Cardinals. And I just want to talk about it for a second. Because don't get me wrong, dude. It was a nostalgia moment if I've ever seen one. Like, it was so cool to see Cam back in those colors. Like, it just felt awesome. He found the end zone twice. One with his legs through a passing tutty, right? Cam Newton ran for 14 yards and threw for 8. And he might start this week. You have no idea how badly I want him to start this week just to see what happens. Because I promise you, Cam Newton ain't back. He's not back, okay, as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. It's a cool moment. He's back with the Panthers. Looks awesome. He had 2 tutties in his return. Good stuff. Cam Newton is past his days of a starting quarterback in the National Football League, Scotty. Well, there is a reason he was released. No one picked him up until now. There's a reason for that. That doesn't just happen. This isn't a Colin Kaepernick, type of political situation here. Cam Newton, it was strictly about football. He's done. And I just want him to play so badly so I can stop hearing about it. I need to stop hearing about it. Oh, my God.
He goes up against his old coach, Riverboat Ron, this weekend. Washington football team. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I do think that he will start, because why the hell would you start whoever the hell it is that they have over there?
Walker?
DJ Walker. I mean, unless you want to see what you have in that guy, you're going to start Cam Newton. Probably gives you your best chance to win, but I can't expect too much out of this guy. I mean, his arm. He got beat out by Mac Jones, which obviously, if he was the better quarterback in that situation,
Mac Jones was having to show Cam the playbook. And here's the thing: it's not an anti-Cam thing. It's again, Scotty, with social media and the people. Like, stop telling me he's back.
They're not making it to the box score anymore, man. They're just going straight to – they see a touchdown on like a quick clip, and all of a sudden he's back. They don't even go – it used to be box score checkers.
Yeah. You
just go and see what the stats are. It's like, he had a good game.
It's clip goers.
Clip clickers or something.
Clip tears.
No, but and against Washington football team, I mean, we'll see what their defense looks like, because I know Chase Young tore his ACL, but –
I mean, Scotty, realistically, how many times have you seen a guy be picked up, released, and it's just sitting out there while multiple teams have quarterback issues and injuries, and no one, Scotty, because he's done.
Yeah.
And you just think, because it's Carolina again, it was awesome to see, but my God, all right, I had to get that off my chest.
The Cam Newton.
Social media, you Twitter troll annoying ass people telling me that the league's going to be sorry and Cam's back.
The league.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on to our power rankings, and then, oh, wow, I completely forgot we have a new segment to do, too, that we can run through quick.
We'll run through it real quick.
Buckle up, everybody.
Let's get through the power rankings quick.
Yeah, we have our Thursday updated power rankings. So, Scotty, I'll let you go first if you want to run 5 through 1, 1 through 5, however you want to do it.
Gotcha. I'll go 5 through 1. So coming in at 5, did have the Bucs moving down a little bit from last week. They were my third seed or third power rank team. So I have them at 5 this week at 6-3 after the loss to Washington football team. Number 4, I do have the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, they had a hiccup against the Denver Broncos. They came right back out the following week and blew the doors off a team in Atlanta who everyone going into this matchup was like, hey, Atlanta's turning it around. Is Atlanta turning into a decent team? Is Arthur Smith looking like one of those rookie coaches of the year, right? No, it's not looking like that. They blew the doors off Atlanta.
No.
Yeah, nah. Cowboys blew the doors off Atlanta. Number 3, I got the Cardinals. Even after the loss, they were number 1 last week. Have them move down to number 3. It was without Kyler. It was without DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to knock them too much for losing that game. It was the return of Cam game. I'm sure Carolina got a lot of hype off of his 2 touchdowns that he had there. But I'm not knocking Carolina too much. They're still 8-2. They should get Kyler back this week and hopefully get back on track. Number 2 and number 1, man. It's honestly it's me giving some goddamn respect here. Number 2, I got the Tennessee Titans. They're 8-2. They're taking care of business. I know that it's only a 2-point win against the Saints with Trevor Siemian at quarterback. It's still a W. They're still 8-2. They're still finding ways to win. Their defense is playing lights out right now. And I got to give some credit to the Titans, even without Derrick Henry. Obviously, these rankings are fluid. The Titans could fall out of the top 5 by next week if they get blown out this weekend by whoever they're playing. So that's just something to note there. But just to give some respect to the Titans, 8-2, number 2. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers, discount double check, Green Bay Packers, 8-2. They have put the world on notice. They are the best team in the NFL right now. You know, they had a couple hiccups to start the season. You know, they got blown out by the Saints week 1. Aaron Rodgers didn't practice with the team all off season, coming back first game. Who was their other loss to, actually? Was it let me look that up real quick. Regardless, the last few weeks they've been able to take care of business. They gave the Cardinals their first loss. And then they were able to, they lost to the Chiefs without Aaron Rodgers. That's who it was. They had Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't count. Literally, that does not count. No, they're 8-2. They've taken care of business. They beat everybody that they're supposed to beat since that first loss week 1 against New Orleans, who does have a great defense. But yes, Aaron Rodgers, their defense is coming around, which is something you hinted at probably 2 weeks ago, I think. But their defense is coming around. They're looking like the best team in the NFL right now. And as you can see, the Rams fell out of my top 5, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. So I'll start number 1 because it's where you left off. I have the Green Bay Packers as well. They didn't even play well on Sunday. Like, Aaron Rodgers did not play well in his return from his little COVID absence with the defense. And I know it was Russ's return, and maybe Russ rushed the return back, and he shouldn't be back yet either. But regardless, they shut out Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks 17-0 this past week. So I do have the Green Bay Packers as number 1 on my team. They're a very complete team, which is something I don't think Aaron Rodgers has had in a while. Obviously, the Aaron Jones injury is a little worrisome. Yeah. I think they skated out of this one a little lucky. He's only supposed to miss 2 to 3 weeks, I believe, with an MCL sprain. And then A.J. Dillon is a fine backup in the short term for them, as you saw last week. Number 2, 2 and 3, I flip-flopped your 2 and 3. I had the Arizona Cardinals 2, the Tennessee Titans number 3. Obviously, the Cardinals got their asses whooped at home to the Panthers this past week in Cam's return. Once again, it's without Kyler Murray. It's without DeAndre Hopkins. I believe Colt McCoy, their backup, even got hurt in this ball game. So, you know, you can only win so many games without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and then your backup goes down too. They lose that game. Again, Panthers are still a horrible team, and PJ Walker's their starter. But you know, they fed off of the Cam return, I guess, early. They got on the board early. They turned the Cardinals over early, and that's really all she wrote. The Tennessee Titans again are continuing to win games and continuing to impress. Shorthanded without Derrick Henry, this team is setting themselves up nicely if Derrick Henry is able to make a return around week 17 or early in the playoffs, because when you can pull together wins, it was kind of like us as Sixers fans when they were stringing together wins against good teams without Joel Embiid and Matisse Thybulle and Danny Green. When you can do that in the locker room, it gives your role players a lot more confidence going forward, and gives them a lot more action against better opponents. So I think that's kind of what they're doing in Tennessee right now. So if he can come back healthy, if Julio Jones comes back healthy, they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. Number 4 for the first time in my top 5, Scotty, is the Dallas Cowboys. Don't get me wrong, I was all over them after the Denver loss 2 weeks ago. Losses like that do happen, as you said. They, to quote The Rock, layeth the smacketh down on the Atlanta Falcons this past week. My goodness, did I not see that coming? CeeDee Lamb continues to impress. We talked about top, whatever receivers earlier. He is a young, up-and-coming stud of a wide receiver. Amari Cooper has been banged up, but he still got it. Dak continues to impress. That running duo of Zeke and Pollard continues to impress. The Cowboys still forcing turnovers. Their defense impressing a little bit. So they're number 4. And number 5, we just have 2 difference makers in the NFC here. You have the Bucs. I have the Rams. Okay. Both teams coming off losses last week. I guess I just have a little bit more faith in all of these weapons putting it together, more so than the Bucs do right now. Obviously, there was a comment earlier about the Antonio Brown situation. I would need to read more into it before I talked about it. Yeah. I saw the report that he has a fake COVID vaccination form.
Yeah.
But then the Bucs and the NFL disputed that and said there was no irregularities between his form and everyone else's form. So who knows what's the truth? Who knows what's not? But they got a little bit of drama going on. Tom, I'm never going to say Father Time has caught up to him until he's done. But over the last 3 weeks, between 2 losses and a bye week, he's throwing interceptions. He's turning the ball over. He's inaccurate. We'll see what the end of this second half of the season looks like for Tom. But I got a little more faith in the Rams star-studded roster than I do the Bucs as of right now.
I think that's fair. And Rams are my number 6 team if we went any further. But I have no disputes with that.
All right, that's going to wrap up our top 5 power rankings, Scotty. Before we get into tonight's Falcons-Patriots matchup, do you want to tell people about our new segment?
Yeah, of course. So something interesting as we were getting ready for this Thursday night matchup specifically, it came to mind, over the last few weeks, we had some primetime matchups with like Big Ben, Matt Ryan, these quarterbacks that, in my opinion, are a little over the hill, at least with the roster or the organizations that they're with currently. Big Ben specifically needs to exit the league ASAP. But I have a list of 10 quarterbacks here. I got their numbers. I'm going to list their numbers to you first, and then tell me – I'm going to give you the record as well. So the record of the team, I'm going to give you the numbers of the quarterback, and let me know if you would move on from this quarterback, and then I'll tell you their name after you make your decision there. So first quarterback on the list I got here. He's played 8 games, 154 of 232 completions, 1,936 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and the team is 4-5. Would you move on from this quarterback? So close to 2,000 passing yards.
Here's the funny thing about how you're setting this one up. You're going to trip me up, man. You're going to trip me up with wherever the hell Ben falls in this, and wherever some other quarterbacks fall in this.
Here, you're right. That's
no. I like your way. I like your way.
That way, okay. Yeah. I was gonna say I can give you the name and just make the decision that way.
A little game show-esque. All right. I at least got to pull up some notes next to me. Hold on.
And I should have got these. I
know who it is. I think I know who it is, so I'll start out by saying they're in a tough spot. I think he's still got it. I think he can play a couple more years, but for the future of this team, who is obviously going through a youth movement a little bit, I think it's the team that's behind me on the screen right now. Are you talking about Matt Ryan?
No, I'm not.
No?
I'm
Jimmy
not.
Garoppolo?
It's Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, it is Jimmy G. So would you move on from Jimmy G after this season? Go with Trey Lance?
Yeah. And here's why. The 49ers are better with Jimmy Garoppolo right now. They win when he's on the field, they lose when he's off the field. But Jimmy Garoppolo is never – he already got you to a Super Bowl, and it wasn't enough. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a good enough quarterback to get you over the hump in order to win a championship. So at some point, and you traded up and you made those moves to get Trey Lance at such a high slot of this past year's draft. At some point, you have to give it a chance. This year, I was 110% down with starting Jimmy Garoppolo and letting Trey Lance learn and sit. But next year, you got to pull the trigger at some point. This isn't, 2005 or whatever, and Aaron Rodgers sits out for, however many years behind Brett Favre. You have to pull the trigger next year. I'd move on from Jimmy G.
Okay, I think
I thought I had you. You said 4 and 5. You had the numbers. I'm like, it's Matty Ice, ain't it?
All right. So next quarterback. I apologize, man. My light is like going out.
Nah,
here.
you're good.
I'm trying to fix my plugs and stuff. My laptop was dying. Next quarterback. He's played 6 games this season. 111 of 170 completions out of attempts. 1,198 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Team has a 3-7 record.
Is it Justin Fields?
No.
You wouldn't be asking me that. Well, I don't know who this guy is, so you'll have to tell me after. But from the numbers, no, I'm not liking what I'm hearing.
1,200 passing yards, 7
passing yards,
5 interceptions.
Not enough attempts for me. Not enough attempts for me. The interception, the touchdown ratio is too close. I want to say I'd pass on this person.
It's Tua in Miami.
Good.
You out on Tua?
Yeah, I'm out on Tua.
I'm out on Tua as well. Next one, played 8 games, 196 completions out of 299 attempts.
Damn.
1,986 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 5-3 record.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
That's Big Ben.
No. No, I knew. Oh, no. I knew you were going to do this to me. What did you say the record was? You're lying. You said the record.
5-3.
They're 5-3-1.
They're 5-3, man.
5-3-1.
Oh, they're 5-3-1. My bad, dude. My bad.
That's where you got
totally
me.
My fault. First time segment, everybody. First time segment. All right.
Damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
so
well,
Big Ben.
Let me retract my original statement. No, I'm moving the hell on. Screw the numbers in this for this person.
That's my bad, man. I did throw you off without throwing the tie in there. That wasn't fair.
I mean, it is fair because if I heard the one, I would have said it's Big Ben.
It wouldn't have been fair either way.
Yeah. All right, so, screw that.
Next one, I got 9 games, 182 completions out of 306 attempts.
Oh.
Also, 1,986 passing yards, so the same as Big Ben. 7 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 5-5 record.
7-11? One of these is going to be like one of the young studs I really like Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, and I'm going to say pass. But I'm going to say pass on this person.
So that is actually Sam Darnold. So you made the right choice. No, I will let you know this, Dylan. There's no top 10 quarterbacks on here, period. So there's nothing. There's no tricks like that necessarily.
So Lamar Jackson's not on this list, right?
Nah. No, he's not. But no, literally anybody that you can think in that top tier of obviously they're franchise guys. They're not on this list.
Yeah, I got you.
The next one. This one's going to be interesting. So 9 games, 161 completions out of 246 attempts. 1,990 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 5-5 record.
Another disclaimer. I know you're throwing Jalen Hurts in one of these just to see what I say about the numbers. And I'm not going to know when it's them. I'm going to say I'll keep that person.
Okay, yeah, and honestly, I think you would keep this person in real life. He's due for an extension as well. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I figured you would. He has some pretty decent numbers, though, honestly. So and that's even with him being banged up this year. Next one, 9 games played, 190 completions out of 293 attempts, 2,059 passing yards,
Damn.
2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and that record is wrong. I think I was thinking Mac Jones here. I'm going to tell you this is Daniel Jones of the Giants. Would you move on from the Giants here? I wrote down Mac Jones' record, and I saw Jones when I was putting the record down. Obviously, the Giants are not 6-4, but those are Daniel Jones' numbers.
Okay. Get this.
Would you move on from Daniel Jones after this season?
Yeah, I would. Daniel Jones, in no way, shape, or form, is the answer long term for the New York Giants. I don't know. They don't have a sense of direction, in my opinion. I'll tell you what, the Giants have some playmakers offensively.
They do.
Again, Saquon can't stay healthy, but if Saquon stayed healthy, Evan Ingram's whatever, but they got some young, speedy type of wide receivers, and Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney. They've got some guys there that are young. Their defense isn't half bad. They had no offensive line. But yeah, Daniel Jones. You ain't winning a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. So if that is the end goal, right, Scotty? So if you can't ever see yourself winning a Super Bowl with him, I don't know what's going on. Can't hear you. Nope. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you're muted.
What the hell? Why is my camera spinning? Okay. Can you hear me? Are we good here? Oh, my God. We're trying new segments. And, of course, the technology has to completely fail as well.
This is one of the best shows we've ever done. I said you're never winning. I said you're never winning a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones, and that is the end goal, right? So if you can't see yourself winning, this guy leading you to a Super Bowl, then what are we doing here? Unless he's a short-term placeholder. And I don't think that was the move when they made Daniel Jones. I thought, for whatever reason, they thought he could be the guy. He's proven time and time again that he's not. So yeah, I'd move the hell on from Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. Just the whole turnover issue, that seems to be part of his calling card. He does do some nice things with his legs sometimes, but overall he just seems to be mistake prone. But yeah, I would move on from Daniel Jones there. Next one, 9 games played, 218 completions out of 322 attempts, 2,274 yards, 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a 4-5 record.
Read the completion percentage, the completion and attempts again.
It was 218 out of 322.
I'd stay.
That's Matt Ryan. She's a tough one. He is a tough conversation, man.
When you factor in where Atlanta's at and his age, that to me becomes the issue. I still think Matt Ryan can play in this league. But Atlanta's got to figure out what the next step is, what the next phase is. He's not going to be around much longer leading that team.
And they haven't drafted anyone.
Yeah.
That's kind of
for that situation, I'd pass. But if I was another team looking for a veteran quarterback, whether just to, manage a game or maybe you think you have enough weapons to plug him in for a year or two, I'd probably take a shot at Matt Ryan.
Anybody come to mind as far as like when you're thinking around the league?
Team-wise?
Yeah. If not, it's totally fine. I know you're not prepared.
No. I mean, it's a great question. I'm just trying to think about it semi quickly, not to take up too much time here.
It's hard to say because we don't know, where rookies stuff like that. But
Miami, they've got a lot of youth and speed offensively, and their defense was supposed to be top 10 heading into this year.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's
interesting because I feel like they're not ready to go down that rookie.
They should have they have a top 7, top 10 defense.
Right.
You have the Najee Harris. Now, I'm not a Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster fan, but they've got some guys. That's one. I don't know, man. There's a couple places.
One that came to mind for me is, if the Seahawks were to move on from if Russell Wilson was to move on from the Seahawks, you could insert a Matt Ryan right in there. That would be pretty smooth fit as well with those two dynamic receivers. But it's hard to say. Obviously, Houston's going to need a quarterback. The top of my mind, yeah. I mean, it's not worth thinking through right now, but definitely, it's interesting with Ryan because he has played pretty well, but it's with the situation involved as well where you would really pass on him there. Next quarterback, 10 games, 222 completions out of 321 passing attempts, 2,389 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 5-5 record.
I don't know the record, but is this Derek Carr?
No, it isn't. I thought about putting him on the list, but I did not.
I'd keep this person.
That's Teddy Bridgewater, 2-glove Teddy.
Oh, no.
His numbers are pretty good this year, man. It's kind of ironic.
They sound great. No. I take back what my original statement was. I'm passing on Teddy Bridge. 2-glove Teddy.
2-glove Teddy, man. Getting some love here on DSM. Next quarterback. I got 2 quarterbacks left. We're almost done. So 9 games, 201 completions, 306 attempts, 2,184 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3-6 record.
9 picks is a lot at this point of the season. How many yards?
2,184.
12 tutties. I'm going to pass on this person.
That's Taylor Heineke. I just wanted to see if I could stump you with that guy. I know that's Gent's guy. And then,
thank God I said pass.
Final quarterback. It's pretty obvious who it's going to be. It's Jalen Hurts.
I should have thrown him in the middle because I
messed that all the way up, bro. 10 games, 184 passing completions out of 296 attempts, 2,159 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4-6 record. How you feeling about Hurts?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's played himself into the conversation. He hasn't answered the question completely yet, whether it's yes or completely no. There are a lot of people that are extremely down on this year's draft class.
Yeah.
So if the Eagles decide to keep those 3 first-round picks or 2 for whatever they end up getting draft compensation-wise, I think he's bought himself at least 2022. But if you have the opportunity to move those draft picks for Russell Wilson, obviously Aaron Rodgers' name's been thrown out there. I don't believe that's an option, but let's just say Russell Wilson, you move those draft picks for Russell Wilson. I know there's going to be a lot of people that agree with me because it's the name. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. No, we need defense. You have a chance to get a Hall of Fame type quarterback who's still maybe around his prime, well, maybe slightly. Where would you say Russell Wilson is at this stage of his career? Slightly past his prime?
I would have to take a look at his numbers. I mean, the injury kind of skews it this season for me, but I mean, just last season he was an MVP candidate.
Right.
It seems like his team is starting to deteriorate due to his.
You have a chance to go do that. You do that. Okay. Yeah. So, Jalen Hurts is TBD. How about that one?
That's fair.
I do have before we get to our last segment though tonight, I do have an idea of how we can continue this type of segment going forward. We can make it fun.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to
clean it up a little bit.
We'll make a sheet that we can put on the screen, share our screen, right? And it'll be, let's just say for this one, it would have been quarterback 1, all the numbers, and then there would be black blocks over the pictures of those quarterbacks next to it. And after I say pass or whatever, or you go, we slide it out and reveal who the player is.
I like it.
This segment coming to life right here.
There we go. That was a good segment. Just got to clean it up a little bit, but hey, at least we're down to try new stuff here. We had a couple technical difficulties as well. Yeah. So
we're going on an hour and 32 minutes.
I know, man. But no, that was fun. I did enjoy that, and maybe next time we can flip it. But whatever works. But yeah, that was definitely fun. Let's finish up with this barn burner tonight with the Falcons and the Pats. Woo! Thursday night football. The schedule has been lit this year.
Yeah, man. I don't know what to think about this game. If I take it from a gambling perspective for you guys, I like the Pats tonight. A little worrisome. I know how primetime games have been playing out. I know where a lot of the money's probably being put tonight for the public, being the Patriots. So that I don't like that. I don't like putting all my money where the public is. I like fading the public a lot. But I think that the Patriots are kind of catching their stride a little bit. I think Mac Jones is in a groove. I think Atlanta got punched in the mouth so hard last week. They're down for a few rounds. This was as close to a 10 count as you could get for them. So I don't think they're going to bounce back up on a short week and respond well tonight. That Patriots defense is playing at a really high level right now. As long as Mac Jones doesn't turn the ball over and give this team a short field, the Falcons just don't have enough. They don't run Mike Davis, so Cordero Patterson is playing a lot of RB. Obviously, they lost Calvin Ridley due to mental health stuff that he's got going on. So you're really focused in on Kyle Pitts, who's a rookie, so he's having his ups and downs. So, I mean, looking at it, I do like the Patriots. Scotty, you and I did discuss the Patriots a lot and said kind of what their ceiling is. Well, guess what, guys? You want to make the playoffs. You want to prove to everybody that you can be a playoff team already with Mac Jones. Yep. You go out and you beat a lesser team on the road on a short week. So, yeah, that's kind of my quick overview of this game.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. I'll give you my quick overview. So, obviously, as you mentioned, the Pats are favored in this game. Last time I checked the lines, it was 6.5-point favorite. They're looking for 5 straight wins. You mentioned it. This is a team you're supposed to knock off if you're really going to make this trip to the playoffs, really start to build this hype. This is the win you get. I know I mentioned it last week as the Browns were the signature win for the Pats this season. So this week is just another week. This is another week where you should get another W. You mentioned the knockout punch that Atlanta received by Dallas. I don't need to talk into that. The Pats, 15th overall offense on the season, 6th overall defense. They're trending upwards even further. But this team is pretty good from the looks of it statistically. You mentioned they still even lack notable talent on the offensive end. They're still getting by just fine. My prediction as well, 28-13 win for the Patriots tonight. I think the Falcons' offense is going to struggle, and ultimately the Pats should be able to get some turnovers to help their offense out. And they should be able to take care of business against the Falcons. Every time I say that team loses. So
so take it with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen, because I said that the Ravens will roll by double digits last week against the Dolphins, and we see how that worked out. Yeah. But I do agree with you, Scotty. I need a pigskin pick to go in the right direction desperately right now. Again, I like fading the public, but I won't tonight. I got trust in the rookie quarterback. I got trust in Bill Belichick. Yeah. I'm going to go Patriots. You have 28, right?
28, which may be a little high.
Yeah, I'm going to go Patriots 23-24. I'll go 23-16.
Okay, yeah. That sounds about right. A
bit of a weird scoring game or whatever, but yeah, that's maybe a missed extra point by Young Wei.
Young Ho.
Yeah. What? Hose, semen. We a lot of stuff's being said tonight. Balls.
This was a fun episode, man. We got to spend more time together.
Yeah. Might be dangerous. Hold on.
Let's finish up with some more nut shaving and.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to find the ad read. Here we are. All right, guys. I know you like talking about balls on this show. So, DSM Media and Turf Talk are proudly brought to you by Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer just for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code TURF20 at manscaped.com. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. This upgraded trimmer includes a multifunction on and off switch that can engage a travel lock. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. And did I mention the wireless charging? The new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Get 20% off and free shipping with code TURF20 at manscaped.com. Again, that is 20% off with free worldwide shipping at manscaped.com using our promo code TURF20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Your balls will certainly. Thank you, guys. Thanks to everyone who commented. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, that's going to tune in or listen to the show after it is over. An hour and 38 minutes we're going on. It's nothing new here for DSM Media and Turf Talk, though. So, guys, of course, like I said in the beginning, if you are new to the channel, if you're new to DSM Media, check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. You can find our link tree in our bio there. It takes you to all of our social media platforms, our Spotify, our Apple podcast link. We have merch up with TeePublic. So here's the hoodie.
Yes, sir.
Pretty good quality, pretty nice stuff. And of course, like I just said, we are sponsored by Manscaped. So you want 20% off and free shipping. The holidays are coming around. They got a lot of great stuff, a lot of cool holiday packages over there for Manscaped. And before we get out, we got one last prediction. Falcons are going to win 28-21. Appreciate the comment. And guys, like I said, for myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media, check us out on Twitter and have a great
One more thing. Turf Talk tomorrow night, 8 p.m. We are doing it at a different time. It will re-air at 10 a.m., the normal time on Sunday. As well as Dylan, I will be out at the tailgate in Philadelphia interviewing some fans. So I will not be available Sunday morning, although we will re-air the show. But tune in tomorrow night if you have a chance.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap up this episode. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and have a great night.